Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today we have a very special person joining us. He has not been on our channel for a while, and I'm very glad to have the company of Mr. M.R. Venkatesh. MRV, welcome to PGurus channel.
Thank you, Mr. Iyer. Tell me, it's been a long time since I've been there in your channel. My apologies. Nothing that I wanted to do it by purpose, but unfortunately because of something personal, I couldn't come up. That's all.
Well, it's very understandable, sir. You've obtained a law degree, and now you are, you're on to newer horizons, and that keeps you very busy. But I'm very appreciative of the fact that you could find some time to talk to us and our viewers today. So, MRV, let's jump straight into what's been happening. It's election season. A lot of hot air is being blown, and I'd like to draw your attention in particular to the Congress Manifesto. And in that, the one that I guess that piqued my interest is the 72,000 rupees a year. And I've already written about this in PGurus, but I would like for you to share with our viewers, what are your thoughts on this? Where did it start? Who all are the players? Have they thought this thing through? I mean, I yield the floor to you, sir.
See, this debate between how to eradicate poverty and whether it has to be done by a state intervention by handing out doles has been the quintessence of the 20th and the 21st century economics. If you look into Adam Smith, he actually writes and says that, look, the butcher, the brewer, or anybody else would be doing his job. The baker would be doing his job, earning his money, and he never talks about the state as an overarching influencer in our lives. But post World War II, when Lord Maynard Keynes started giving this great funda about how the state has to position itself and occupy the commanding heights of the world economy, a phrase that was borrowed very heavily by Pandit Nehru also. What we see is that you have a problem with the water not coming in your tap, you immediately start blaming the government. And the government also assumes that it has to somehow or other, whether it gets you water or not, has to do a war dance and get a water in your tap. Now, coming to this 72,000 rupees scheme in particular, even after the manifesto, even after several press conferences, several articles, including by people like you, none of us are wiser about 3-4 things. One, whether it is 72,000 rupees per month, 72,000 rupees per year per family. If so, how is it to be calculated? What will be the total cost of administering this scheme? And lastly, where from the Congress party, if at all, God forbid, comes to power, where is it going to raise the money? Now, all these questions are unanswered. But if you go back to history, forget Adam Smith, forget your Lord Maynard Keynes and others, you go back to history. In fact, Mr. Gurumurthy had written an article also in the business line. There was an economic advisor to Kamsa, whose name was Bahuka. Now, it may bear an uncanny resemblance to Rahul Gandhi and P. Chidambaram, and for which I cannot be blamed. Bahuka gives the same type of advice to Kamsa to subjugate its population. He says, throw open your gajana, throw open all the liquor shops, throw open all your food grains to people so that they don't work and their self-esteem is so low that you thrash them also. They will come on in a queue and beg for that type of liquor and food grains that you'll be throwing about. In other words, you create a society devoid of its own self-esteem to such an extent that this population is nothing more than just a vote bank. Now, is this the right way? Perhaps I'm not criticizing it, but world over since the days of Bahuka, this idea of an universal income scheme, which incidentally was not the brainchild of either Rahul Gandhi or Mr. P. Chidambaram, but you will be surprised it finds mention in the economic survey 2 years back by the then economic advisor, Mr. Arvind Subramanian, who brings about a debate in the economic club of Latins Delhi, and says, why not is it a time for a universal business, universal income scheme? Now, the problem with these economists is that they don't understand that economics is nothing but culture at play. If you destroy culture, if you destroy the hardworking ability of a person and make him subservient to the doles that the government gives him, what happens, say, for example, to the blacks in America? The blacks in America are virtually dependent on the doles, and the Democratic Party is virtually created a vote bank out of it. Now, you can debate till the cows come home whether this is the right way or the wrong way, but the cost of it is being borne by the middle class and the upper middle class, the average American who is hardworking, who pays his taxes honestly and sincerely. So this is going to be the debate that is going to come back to India. So it's going to be a war against simple, hardworking, 16-hour, tax-paying Indian versus those who believe that I will take some doles from the government, I will get free rice from the state government, 6,000 rupees from the central government. And what do you want? Then where is the question of the country progressing? So this is going to be the biggest debate in these elections.
Now, it so happens that the other person in this triumvirate, Mr. Raghuram Rajan, is also touring India, promoting his new book, The Third Pillar. And looks like he didn't say no when asked if Rahul Gandhi consulted him about this universal basic income. Now, the question that, torments me is, why is it important for our media to ask some people, questions that are totally unrelated to them? I mean, we knew that Mr. Rajan wasn't exactly a good fit. He wasn't an economist, and yet somehow Mr. Chidambaram, in his infinite wisdom, thought it fit that he fit the bill. And now, we go and seek the opinion of this person. I'm completely baffled. And then there is somebody else asking, are you going to be the next finance minister? What are your thoughts on this, MRV? I mean, he couldn't, in my opinion at least, he couldn't even do a job of RBI governor properly. What makes him uniquely qualified to be the finance minister? Of course, don't use the yardstick of the current finance minister to define that he's very well qualified.
Yeah, see, you don't need to be an economist to be a finance minister. All you have to do is to have a common sense. And common sense and understanding of India. Two important criteria that I will put it, and which are two very, very rare commodity in the modern Delhi circuit. If you see a politician with common sense and politician with understanding of India, it's a rarity in modern day Latins Delhi. Now, Latins Delhi has got a fascination with a fair, mustacheless, foreign educated person. That's the problem with an accent also. You closely qualify, Mr. Iyer, but yet you are not there. You may come up to NDMC area, but you don't enter the Latins area. You are mustacheless, you are foreign educated, you don't have an accent, unfortunately, and you are not so fair. But if you qualify for all the four and all the boxes are ticked, you can be the Defense Minister of India, you can be the Prime Minister of India, you can be the Finance Minister of India, you can be the RBI Governor, you can be anything and everything, because wherever they want to fit you in, they always conjure images that you can be fitted in. Now, coming to the important issue of Raghuram Rajan, I don't disbelieve when people say that Rahul Gandhi consulted Mr. Raghuram Rajan, and Raghuram Rajan could have probably crafted this scheme in some way or the other. But I wouldn't be even surprised if Mr. Arvind Subramanian was consulted by Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I'm not as much bothered as Mr. Raghuram Rajan, who is from the Congress stock, being consulted by Rahul Gandhi. I have no problem with that, but I would be equally flabbergasted if the news comes in when Mr. Arvind Subramanian were to be consulted by Rahul Gandhi for this scheme. And for all that, a year or two later, Arvind Subramanian comes out and says that, I tried this best for Mr. Modi, but Modi didn't listen. That's why I resigned. And here was Rahul Gandhi who took to this scheme. This is what could probably happen 2 years down the line. The point I'm making is that this is not economics. This is fantasy. Let us be clear about two things. An economic scheme that is basically trying to rob Paul and pay Peter with the state as an intermediary is bound to fail if the history of modern economics is any evidence in the last 50, 80, 100 years. This has never worked, whether it is Venezuela, whether it is Britain, whether it is Europe, whether it is China, it has never worked. So, if somebody says I'm an economist and I'm also subscribing to this theory of doles, by all means you call yourself anything but an economist. You can be anybody but an economist.
So, the track record of Congress, even the recent track record of Congress of fulfilling their promises has not been very good. Whether you take Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan or Chhattisgarh, the farmer loans have not been waived and could not have been waived. And yet somehow that struck a chord in people's mind. Now, the whole world seems to know or seems to suggest that a certain party and a certain person should lead India for the next 5 years. Yet, how do you see the election play out? Do you think there is some doubt in the voters' mind? Do you think it's going to be a hung verdict? What are your thoughts?
See, at this point in time, I wouldn't venture to look into the crystal ball and do some crystal ball gazing for a simple reason. Elections in India are actually a sigma of around 30-40 elections. Played out in each state, and some states like Uttar Pradesh could be having 2 or 3 regions. Even in Tamil Nadu, there is a different type of narrative that is building up in the western side of the state, then the northern side, then the southern and central side. So there are 3 different state elections within a state election, like say even Tamil Nadu, forget a state like UP. So I wouldn't enter into the political thicket. But if you ask me, why is it that the Congress is able to successfully build a narrative of a victimhood for a particular section of the people? Now, if I turn around and ask you this question, who is the agriculture minister of this country?
Sir, I don't know the name.
And you will be amongst 99% of the people who are politically savvy and politically conscious, but yet would not know the agriculture minister's name. Now, what has BJP or the NDA government done big time for in the last 5 years for agriculture? You would find that you wouldn't know. Whether it has happened or whether it has not happened is entirely a different issue. Politics is also about building perception. I find that on agriculture, rural side, on water resources, on forests, on tribals, on Dalits, the BJP led a narrative to be built. And Congress has been a past master in building narrative on these type of fault lines. And these fault lines exist for the last 75 years since our independence. So Congress has already got a fault line. It is a past master in building a narrative on these fault lines. The BJP should have been extra careful on all these type of areas where it could have sensed an attack 2.5 years into power. But sadly, I thought that they have not addressed these pain points. Not that they have not done anything. I wouldn't say they haven't done anything. But these are extremely sensitive sections of our population. Care should have been taken and seen that you address. Now let me take another important issue. Probably why we are not witnessing a wave that we witnessed in say 2014. The biggest challenge in 2014 was to remove the corrupt. In fact, the slogan of the Congress or the BJP at that point in time, led by Mr. Narendra Modi, was we will bring to book every corrupt. But 1,800 days later, when we are again on a campaign mode, I do not find any big persons in the Congress who has been hauled over the coals for corruption. Now, why is it that this happened? People will definitely feel that there has been a lackadaisical attitude towards handling corruption.
Well, you as well as I, we have been on several network shows, and the explanation that BJP has been trotting out is that many of these cases are being pursued, they are in courts, They have to get the proper, proper due course of hearing, and let the law take its own course. Now, I'll cut to the chase, Mr. Venkatesh. Let's say you are the person now tasked with winning the elections for BJP. What would you do?
See, it's too late in the day to actually think about doing anything but to manage your booth. Now you are in the home run, you can't do anything. Even the cabinet cannot meet for any important decisions. All that you can do is you are basically a government in suspended animation. All that you can do is to do your campaign very straightforward, ensure that the booth management is done at all your strongholds properly, so that you win every booth and every booth becomes your pillar of success. But you turn back and see why is it that there is no wave? What should have been an election where there was no opposition, and we created an opposition and let the opposition rule roost. This need not have come to the wire. I am still believing that the BJP will form the government and it will be under Shri Narendra Modi. But it need not have been a touch and go affair as it looks today. Rather, it should have been a done and dusted case in the month of January.
That's very true, and I have echoed the same sentiments in many of the debates that I have participated in, that Mr. Modi wants to think that he's a Dhoni, taking it to the last over, perhaps the last ball. But now I think all the ammunition has been spent and cannot be used unless there is some sort of a national emergency. So let's see. Let's hope that the wisdom of the voter prevails, and that they will vote the right way. Thank you very much, Mr. Venkatesh.
Thank you.